The introduction of telecommunications marked a specific moment when we rewired how human beings connect. Later, the arrival of massive mainframe computers gave us the processing power to solve complex calculations in seconds instead of years. When the smartphone arrived in 2007, we gained instant access to a digital world that traveled with us everywhere. Over the last 12 months of rapid development, generative AI has pushed machines past passive calculation. Now they actively create. These generative models function by absorbing unimaginable quantities of raw text and data, scraping nearly everything we have ever uploaded to the internet to teach themselves how to replicate human thought. We are currently moving through an immediate transition that rewrites the human experience, from the moment we are born until long after we die. At the moment of conception, clinicians are now feeding massive data sets into algorithms to predict which IVF embryos have the highest chance of developing into a healthy baby. That same predictive power is being applied to maternal blood samples. By analyzing specific markers in the blood, algorithms can anticipate severe complications like preeclampsia, helping doctors intervene early enough to save both mothers and premature infants. As children grow, the technology follows them into the classroom. Researchers are currently deploying AI-powered speech recognition as a non-invasive educational screening tool. This animated diagram illustrates how a child's vocal audio waveform breaks down into individual data points. The algorithm analyzes this pattern to identify minute speech anomalies that indicate dyslexia in 4-year-olds, long before they ever attempt to read a single letter. Looking at the forward trending line graph that forms from those data points, we can track the educational trajectory. Catching these reading difficulties early allows educators to deploy targeted interventions before a child ever falls behind. In these early stages of life, machine learning moves our medical and educational systems from reactive treatment to proactive, personalized prediction. As we enter adulthood, that supportive technology becomes a severe economic threat, actively hollowing out the creative workforce. Language and image generators require vast amounts of training material. To get it, tech companies feed their models the protected work of writers, illustrators, and artists, entirely without consent or compensation. One Irish voiceover artist discovered this firsthand when she stumbled across a text-to-speech website and found her exact voice being sold under the name Olivia. Without her knowledge, a synthetic clone of her voice had been generated to read whatever a paying user typed. The psychological shock of discovering a synthetic version of herself operating independently was followed by the financial reality that this machine was actively taking her industry jobs. At the same time, this automation is creating entirely new technical roles. Drone delivery companies, for instance, now rely on human operators to manage AI algorithms that constantly optimize flight paths based on real-time weather and battery data. Adulthood in the AI era is defined by an agency shift. Machines are evolving from tools we wield into independent agents capable of imitating and replacing our human identities. That ability to imitate identity leads to the complete erosion of objective, observable truth through the spread of deepfakes. With a simple search engine query, anyone can access software that maps a person's likeness onto a different body, generating hyper-realistic, fabricated video in seconds. The personal consequences are devastating. Ordinary women are finding their faces non-consensually grafted onto explicit pornography, weaponized by bad actors who download a handful of social media photos. On a macro scale, this disinformation destabilizes entire systems. When an AI-generated image of a fabricated explosion at the Pentagon went viral, the resulting panic triggered a $100 billion flash crash in the stock market. This manipulation doesn't end when biological life does. We now have to navigate the concept of digital immortality. Because we leave behind such massive amounts of data, tech companies have demonstrated the ability to resurrect the deceased. In one corporate demonstration, it took less than a minute of recorded audio to clone a dead grandmother's voice so it could read a storybook to her surviving grandson. We are producing so much data that we guarantee we will leave behind synthetic ghosts, breaking the final tether between human identity and biological death. It is easy to look at these developments and worry about artificial general intelligence, a theoretical future where machines decide humanity is obsolete. But those philosophical fears distract from the immediate risk, the collapse of shared reality. We are reaching a point where we can no longer believe our own eyes when looking at a screen. Protecting ourselves against mass disinformation cannot be the responsibility of individual consumers. Lawmakers and platform regulators have to step in and force companies to scan, flag, and remove synthetic media the moment it is uploaded. Until then, our most vital survival skill in this century is informed skepticism, the active habit of questioning the media we consume rather than accepting it at face value. Artificial intelligence is becoming an irreversible utility, exactly like the electrical grid. We have to engage with it, learn its mechanics, and figure out how to evolve alongside it so we can ensure it works for us and not the other way around.